I created what no man's mind nor woman's womb could ever hope to achieve. And a lot of food, a lot of good food.
Turkey legs.
It was a good time. Yeah, turkey legs,
Big
but I
old
couldn't eat
turkey
none of that
leg.
because it'd make me have to take a shit. And I didn't want to have to shit in a porta potty. Well, I didn't have a problem with it. I just had my cloak. I don't want to get shit and piss all over my cloak.
It wasn't the shitting part that bothered him, Chris. It was the fact that he had a cloak
I
on.
didn't want to dirty my cloak. I didn't even like dragging it on the ground at times.
Welcome to the Horrible Film School, a safe place to watch scary movies. I am Chris, joined today by my fellow horribles, the Doctor, Professor Hootie.
What's going on, fellas? I'm excited to get Re-Animated today.
I bet you are. Also with us, the scientist, Professor Joseph.
Hey there, guys. Now, if only we could inject some of this Re-Animator iguana juice into my sex life, that would make for some real entertainment.
Really want that sack juice, huh, Joy?
The Patreon bonus content. Heavy spoilers ahead as we piece together 1989's Bride of Re-Animator. Today's lesson, make sure you have healthy hobbies. That way, when your lover is cold and gone, you can manage that grief in a wholesome way.
Well, let me try to sum up the wild movie that is Bride of Re-Animator. When a couple decides to tie the knot, the age-old tradition of till death do us part is agreed upon by both parties. However, what if you could continue to love and be with that person after death? This question gets put to the test by Dr. Herbert West and Dr. Dan Kane. Can they reanimate Kane's long-lost love, or will he be forced to say goodbye once and for all?
You make this movie sound way more romantic than what it is.
It's a love story, buddy.
We will find out Dr. Kane is pretty much trying to bang everybody in the film, so I'm not sure exactly who he loves, but he loves them all. So, the director of the film is Brian Usna, who has done The Dentist and a great B-movie called Return of the Living Dead 3.
You got such a hard-on for these Living Dead movies, don't you?
Have you seen the third one?
Dude, I fucking hate zombie shit. Did you check out any of Mr. Usna's writing credits?
I did. Are you speaking of a little thing called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Keep this in mind. This twisted, demented fuck co-wrote Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Just think about that for a minute.
He created Honey, I Shrunk
he
the
created
Kids.
it.
He wrote all of them.
He's credited in all of them. Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, and even the one that I think got one coming out called Shrunk. That's like a reboot.
Let's get into the cast. First up, Dr. Herbert West, played by Jeffrey Combs, who was in House on Haunted Hill 1999 and The Frighteners.
I pretty much know him as Milton Dammers from The Frighteners. If you haven't seen that movie, he steals every scene that he is in that movie. Fun little fact about Jeffrey Combs. He's either acted or voiced H.P. Lovecraft in several different films and TV series in his career, which I think is a direct callback to the Re-Animator series.
That's very cool. I didn't know that.
I will say he was much more attractive as a younger man than I thought he would be.
Oh my God! And The Frighteners, dude. Remember when he pulled his shirt up and he's got all that shit carved into his chest?
Yeah, I just had like the most grotesque memories of the guy, you know, just seeing The Frighteners. That's the only thing I know him from.
Next up, we have Dr. Dan Kane, played by Bruce Abbott, who was in Casual Sex
Oh shit!
and Beauty and the Beast, the TV show.
He was the Beast, right?
No, it was Ron Perlman.
Okay. All I have to say about this fucking dude, Mr. Abbott, is this guy looks just like George Hardy, the real-life dentist turned actor and Horrible Film School favorite Troll 2. He looks like his fucking twin. Just like
A little better
Let's see how
actor.
much more attractive little better actor, a little more attractive.
But yeah, I did get the same vibe, man. They had that same perfect hair.
Just like him.
So you two might enjoy this little tidbit. In 2021, our current year, there's a short film that's been released that mashes two classic horror movies together called Psycho Re-Animated. And he comes back for it. Jeffrey Combs did not. Bruce Abbott did.
I got another question before we go any further here. You said Beauty and the Beast. Ron Perlman was a beast?
Yeah, in the TV show in the early 90s, like 91 to 92.
So when he turned into a human being, was he still Ron Perlman?
I've never seen the show. I just know that because I read Ron Perlman's book.
No fucking way they had Ron Perlman playing a goddamn Prince Charming with a face
That's
like
what I'm
that.
saying.
Ron Perlman's face looks like the Ents from fucking Lord of the Rings. He looks like a fucking tree.
He's made a lot of money
No
with that
way he
face.
played Prince Charming. Oh yeah, of course, but it's because of that face.
We got Lieutenant Leslie Chapman, played by Claude Earl Jones, who was in Miracle Mile and your grandmother's favorite show of all time, Matlock.
Crazy thing about him is he's the half brother of James Earl Jones.
Is that real?
Ah, damn.
Nah, it's fake.
Oh, that's like, what? Next up, we have Dr. Carl Hill, played by David Gale, who was in The Brain and a Mark Hamill movie called The Guyver, whose tagline is part human, part alien, pure superpower. Francesca Danelli, played by Fabiana Undino,
There it is.
as good as it goes, was in Austin Powers and a RoboCop 2. And a fun fact, at age 13, she was crowned Miss Teen Italy.
She is fucking gorgeous. Sweet, sweet Francesca. Fine as hell, but couldn't act her way out of a fucking potato sack.
Yeah. She was fine.
She played a lot of vagina in the Austin Powers movie. And she also played a part in The Army Now, starring Pauly Shore and Andy Dick.
Oh,
if you remember that movie.
Wow.
Fucking love that movie.
The last credit we got is Gloria, played by Kathleen Kinmont,
Ooh, goodness gracious.
who is
Kinman.
in
Yeah.
That Thing You Do and Halloween
love that movie.
4.
Halloween
Played
4.
the character of Kelly Meeker in Halloween 4.
Dirty girl.
She's on the receiving end of probably one of the most memorable death scenes in Halloween history. She's the chick that gets it when Michael Myers rams the shotgun through her stomach, pins her through the wall.
I remember that one.
Dude, that shit is like top 10 kills all time in Halloween.
Re-Animator is based on the H.P. Lovecraft story entitled Herbert West Re-Animator, published in 1921, and it ran through 1922 in a magazine called Homebrew. According to his letters, Lovecraft wrote the story as a parody of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I'm sure you two picked up on that.
Oh yeah, this movie definitely just
It's called Bride of fucking Re-Animator.
Bride Re-Animated, Bride of Frankenstein. It's yeah.
Lovecraft was unhappy with the work, stating that he wrote it only because he was being paid $5 for each installment. A Lovecraft scholar named S.T. Yoshi claims that Herbert West Re-Animator is universally acknowledged as Lovecraft's poorest work. And with that, Lovecraft's work is in the public domain, which is why you see so many Lovecraft stories get reimagined.
It's funny, man, because H.P. Lovecraft catches a lot of flack for like his racist elitism views.
About to
However,
get there.
with his what's considered his worst work, it was turned into a 3-film series. It kind of speaks to the guy's genius.
You can be talented and be an asshole.
I've heard in recent years that Lovecraft is this piece of shit who's like a racist and a elitist and just a myriad of bad things. So I did some research, we've talked to you guys off mic about, and I found some stuff that's pretty damn disturbing. Next up, to get some behind-the-scenes stuff, I don't have a whole lot this week. It had a budget of $2 million, which is pretty significant. One of the original plots for the film involved Dan Kane being recruited to Washington, D.C. to bring the deceased President of the United States back to life with the help of Herbert West. This was later carried over to the unmade House of Re-Animator. This film almost did not have Jeffrey Combs reprise the role of Herbert West due to a scheduling conflict. However, the project was pushed back, which allowed him to come back as the mad scientist.
It would have been a totally different movie without Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, that would be a whole other movie. It would have sucked.
I thought one of the most surprising things about it is the fact that it was a partnership. Because for me, going into it, I'm thinking it's just this one madman. He's like the titular character, right?
The liquid used for the reagent serum, as in the first film, was taken from glow sticks.
See, now here's what I thought. I thought they just got a bunch of lightning bugs and just mushed them up and got their ass tails. Just used it. I was hoping at the end of the credits it was going to say no lightning bugs was injured in the making of this.
You would think that, you savage.
I thought it was a bunch of iguana cum. It was very aesthetically pleasing to see that just normal dark setting with this just fucking bright ass green serum.
Boom.
It was I really liked the lighting. It looked cool.
The last thing I have here, I have to give a shout out, as we always do, to the special effects team and for the bride of Re-Animator. It was the legendary K&B FX group, including Robert Kurtzman and Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, they definitely did a wonderful job with the film. I feel like I wanted there to be more, and I feel like the original animator Re-Animator probably had a lot more.
Probably the first thing we've watched as a show where I was legitimately grossed the fuck out. Some of the effects works was just that disgusting. I was like, Jesus.
With that, let's get in to Bride of Re-Animator.
My God, they're using tools.
The film opens with the head of Dr. Hill calling out to Herbert West that he will not escape him this time. People regard this as a great scene.
It was a cool intro. It definitely set the mood for what was to come.
We learn that after the events of the first film, both Dr. West and Dr. Kane are now working as volunteers in Peru as war medics during the Civil War.
I thought that was kind of a random setting. I was like, why the fuck are we in Peru?
See, it really hurts that me and you haven't seen Re-Animator.
It does not fucking matter about Peru.
They wrote a whole paragraph telling us why they were there, and I was just like, okay.
No, well, the thing is, it says it starts with the title card saying 8 months later, right?
Yeah.
You think it's going to have a direct correlation of what happened at the end of the other movie with it opening that
I guess it was saying
Nope.
It was saying 8 months later, past the talking head sequence. Maybe I would rather have seen the first one, but I think they wrote a whole damn book to get you up to speed there.
And apparently there is a deleted scene in between the floating head and the Peru scene where Dr. Hill was like a traveling carnival roadshow, a talking head.
Yeah, they talk about that a little bit
cut
later
from
in the movie, but they didn't really show any scenes or anything.
The two doctors are trying to save a soldier's life, but fail. So Wes sees this as an excellent time to try out his updated reagent serum. He then shoots the soldier in the head after adverse effects.
I guess he becomes a zombie or whatever. What is it they're pulling out of his chest that causes him to die? Is it a fucking helicopter propeller or something?
It was a massive piece of metal. Before the two doctors can make it out of war-torn Peru, rebel soldiers infiltrate the barracks and stab Kane. Wes shoots them and tells Kane that it's time to go home.
We're also introduced to Francesca during this tent scene. Is she from the original film or not?
She was written in because the original film's leading actress, her agent told her that she was now bigger than Re-Animator, so she did not return.
Okay.
Back at Miskatonic Hospital in Arkham, Massachusetts, Kane and West are prepping a terminally ill young lady named Gloria for surgery, and West is already thinking about reanimating her before she's even dead.
Dude, Dan Kane, the doctor, is finger fucking the shit out of her hand in this scene.
He's a very horned up man.
I was convinced he was fucking multiple patients watching this. I was like,
Yeah, very
this guy does not seem heartbroken to me. He seems like
he says to her, he goes, "Oh, you're looking much better today. I can see you even managed to put on makeup." And she says, "Well, my head's the only thing that feels like it's not sick." And then Dr. Herbert West, comes up and like looks at her in the eye and shit with the flashlight. Like, "Yep, you're right. The rest of you's kind of fucked up."
Pretty much.
Your head's good though.
She's got good head, Dan.
A little bit of foreshadowing for later in the film.
Lieutenant Chapman decides to take a visit to the hospital's pathology department in order to speak with Dr. Graves. Chapman is not giving up on the massacre that occurred at the hospital and brings in the head of Dr. Hill.
It's here that he says that it was found at a sideshow, at a carnival. Did anybody notice how bad he is at showing his badge in this movie?
It's very sloppy.
He literally has it upside down in multiple scenes and just flips it open. He's like, "Yeah, I'm police."
Dr. Graves shows Chapman everything that remains from the massacre and explains how nothing has shown any signs of deterioration, even at a cellular level.
"Do you mean to tell me they're still alive?" "Dead is dead, Lieutenant. I should know. I'm a doctor, and I study creation." And he fucking looks off camera and shit up to the air with such a pompous ass look. Like, you motherfucker.
The arrogance.
Oh, it was a great scene.
The arrogance of a doctorate.
Chapman learns that body parts are going missing from the hospital, and it appears that Dr. Graves could not care less.
Is this the scene where they go down to the crematorium?
The
And they
feet.
see the fucking ballerina who died of suicide by foot amputation? Apparently this bitch couldn't make it as a
This is
damn
the fact.
ballerina. Cuts both her feet off and bleeds to death.
Where's
Who the fuck could do? That's the first time somebody's died by foot amputation as a suicide.
This movie was into feet, man. Feet were a thing.
You would think Quentin Tarantino had a fucking hand in it.
You might have did, or a foot in it. Who knows?
Hey.
West goes into the pathology room and discovers the head of Dr. Hill has shown up again. He begins to talk to the perfectly preserved head before leaving the room with Meg's heart. Meg being the love interest from the first film.
Dr. West hits him with a real good pun right here in this scene when he sees Dr. Hill's head. He's, "Look at you now. You're just a dead head. A nobody."
A nobody.
Oh, that's pretty good. This dude's delivery is like, it's so good. His like deadpan delivery is like great.
Yeah, he legit seemed like a scientist who, when he did get to tell the joke, he thought it was fucking incredible.
Kane goes home, where his roommate, Herbert West, is continuing his work in the basement on cadavers and living iguanas. He finds West climbing out of the wall after discovering that the house connects to the cemetery. He was pumped about this.
Yeah, it's at this point we discover what happened to the feet. Apparently, Dr. West had smuggled the amputated feet out and had them on ice.
Those are good feet.
Some nice looking feet, man. Here's a question. Dan is a nice looking guy. He seems intelligent enough. He's a good doctor. Why the fuck is he living with this man?
Everybody he fucks dies. They either get cancer or they fucking get chopped up.
I'm just saying, what is going on between these two where he feels like he has to live with this man?
Well, he's a scientist. He's got a duty to the scientific community.
He's forced to live with him in the first one, and then they form a bond, a friendship, Chris. And then you can't leave your friends. This movie's all about love and friendship.
Guys, I couldn't tell if they liked each other or not. I guess that was my question. What is it about the heart that they think, or that he thinks, is like would reanimate Meg? You think it'd be like a brain, right? Like her personality.
Well, he makes it a point when talking to Dr. Hill's head about how he had this theory, or Dr. West had this theory, that every part of the human body has a conscience.
It retains
Like, I guess
consciousness.
it
That's
retains,
true.
yeah, it retains, like, you know, a piece of the person. And I guess that's
That's a good point.
call back to the original movie. That's what kind of sense I made out of it.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
I'll let you have that.
West kills the live iguana in order to take its amniotic fluid. Or is it amniotic?
Amniotic
You're right.
sounds right. He doesn't just kill him.
It
He
is.
creates, like, mustard gas and, like, smothers him with it. Or her with it. With it being amniotic fluid, it's a female iguana.
And he does this in order to make the perfect rendering of the reagent serum. Kane decides that this is the best time to tell West that he's moving out. Just as West is creating a creature of fingers and one eyeball.
That fucking creature was badass. That was actually, like, really cool practical effects.
Yeah, that was like a stop motion, claymation type deal, but very cool, very effective.
So, quick question before we move on. Did you guys already know what amniotic fluid is?
Is that the sack like a baby's delivered in?
Okay, it is. For whatever reason, I thought, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I looked up, is amniotic fluid pussy juice? And it turns out amniotic fluid is the shit the baby lives in while it's in the womb. Like, in the amniotic sac, it's surprised by the amniotic fluid. So for all you at home, amniotic fluid is not pussy juice. It is the stuff babies live in inside the womb.
Burning questions answered.
The more you know from the professor,
The
Joy.
more you
over
know,
there.
with that star going across the fucking screen.
The rainbow and the star, yeah.
I don't know that because Tom Cruise drank his children's amniotic fluid in a little milkshake.
What the fuck?
concoction. So yeah, you can look that up.
Yeah, it's like people eating placentas and stuff. It's a
Jesus.
modern liberal thing.
Full of protein, baby. Kane is just about to leave the house when West pulls Meg's heart out of the freezer and convinces Kane to continue the work on the serum. If you have a girlfriend or a wife or a partner or a boyfriend or whoever the fuck you have that you love, and that person dies, and then somebody pulls their heart out, I doubt you're going to be like, oh shit.
So this movie takes place 8 months after the first movie? Have we decided that or not?
Yes, we have decided that.
We think
So
so.
Meg's
yes.
been dead for 8 months. And at this
Yes.
point, has Francesca been reintroduced back into the story or not?
Not yet.
Okay. So all he's got is like a terminally ill Gloria.
Lady with
who's,
great
like,
makeup on.
Weeks from being dead. I could see him like still being like, you know, love struck and in mourning, and somebody whips out the heart in this universe where you could reanimate people. I mean,
It's a perfect heart on the cellular level too, Joey.
it's like preserved because it's got the juice in it.
that juice
The
juice.
fucking pussy juice from the
Jesus. And with Meg's heart, the construction of a woman begins. Lieutenant Chapman shows up at the doctor's door and confronts the two on the night of the massacre. While the lieutenant is questioning Wes, the finger creation is running all over the room before falling victim to a book being slammed on it and the lieutenant leaving the house not knowing that he killed such a wonderful creation.
This motherfucker walks in, doesn't have a warrant or anything, just walks right in the door. You know, and these guys, even when having doctorates, aren't smart enough to be like, hey, you can't come in here, bro.
While they've got a basement full of a lot of evidence.
Yeah. Be a little bit more defensive than just let him peruse.
I feel like West was pretty got in his face about a lot of his shady police work. So Dan is just such a passive little bitch.
Dude, he walks to the front door, opens the door, flops that fucking badge out. He's got like the actual badge part in his hand where you can't see it, and he sees his ID, and Dan's like, police. Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Just blows right past him. Whoop.
Back at the hospital, Dr. Graves is trying out West's serum on a dead bat that comes alive after being injected. The bat attacks him until Graves cuts its wings off with a scalpel.
That part kind of grossed me. All right, I know we're dealing with a puppet, but it still grossed me the fuck out.
I thought the bat was
Yeah.
cool, though.
The cutting the wings
Yeah,
off.
the effects,
was like,
man.
It was fucking crazy.
This was some of the stuff I was like cringing, like, ooh, this is hard to watch. Good effects work.
Dr. Graves realizes that the serum works, and what do? You grab Dr. Hill's head for another go at testing. Dr. Hill wakes up for a conversation with him that ends with Graves becoming his assistant for some unfinished business.
The dude goes in. He says, "I recognize you from your seminar over in Germany." He's like, "Oh yeah, it's about creationism." He said, "Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. You're an imbecile."
It was fucking terrible. This dude was so fucking hammy. Is this just how the character speaks? Or is this dude just playing like a haunted house villain the whole time?
He played almost the identical type person in the first one. I think it's more of like a haunted house, like hamming it up, man. Meanwhile, Kane and West are taking a female dead body out of the hospital, Weekend at Bernie style. I miss it in movies when you just walk around with dead people and just put clothes on them and everybody's cool with it.
So that was like a full-on corpse, right? It wasn't Gloria.
Yeah, this was like an entire cadaver.
But I thought later on they highlighted the fact that they'd use parts from all these different women. So what the hell did they need a whole cadaver for?
Was the torso.
Yeah, you need torso.
I think this was the tits.
While playing Weekend at Bernie's, Kane sees Francesca, a woman from his time in Peru, and invites her over for dinner. Love plot.
Hey, don't forget Francesca's dog, Angel.
Oh, the Angel will
Beautiful
have a
dog.
little go at it later on.
Beautiful dog. We also are reintroduced to, well, not reintroduced, but another visit from Lieutenant Leslie Chapman right here as well.
Oh, Chapman. Kane leaves, just as, to Joey's point, Chapman shows up to tell Francesca about the massacre and show her the still living patients from that night who now live in the psych ward, one of whom is his wife.
Dude, this scene was fucking gross. Holy
I
shit.
got grossed out again. I was like, holy shit. Because I was kind of confused as to
one
where we were going anyway.
What was all over the black dude's face? Was that like shit? It was like green Duke or something all over his face.
Yeah, those freak me out.
So these people are brainless. They're mindless. So our objective in this movie is to create a person with personality from dead tissue.
Yeah, you're not just trying to
Yes.
create someone that's zombified with no brain function.
I got you. Okay.
Next level.
Because I
Next
assumed
beta.
they were from the original. Probably not necessarily exactly the same characters, but that was the idea of what they created in the first one.
Yeah, for sure. Back at the doctor's house, Kane and West are working on the cadaver by giving each joint a metal makeover and rewiring the blood veins. That was very cool. I really enjoyed the special effects there.
Yeah, I thought the severed limbs looked really good, man. They were so clean, but believably, the levels of tissue. It was awesome.
Francesca shows up for a date night as Kane tries to cover the blood on his white shoes. They make spaghetti and then have a little sex.
He does about the best titty grab I've ever seen in an actual movie on a bare titty. If I was that girl's husband, I would be offended.
He doesn't show any nipple. He covers it up.
It
perfectly.
doesn't, but he grabs him a handful. There's a reason it doesn't show any nipple, Chris, because it's in between his fingers. He's
Why are
pulling
they
shit out
fucking
of
with the
thing.
door wide open, knowing that there's dead bodies outside?
Which she doesn't
Herbert
know that.
West over there watching.
Herbert was watching. It's
Herbert-
kind of creepy.
Herbert West walking up steps, stops, goes back. Oh shit!
Hey man, you got any leftover spaghetti or?
I see what Dan wants to do with his reanimated bride.
Any more of that French loaf? Oh, I guess there's no more French loaf. Okay. West walks in on Kane telling Francesca how soft her skin is before he discovers that the lieutenant is just sitting in the fucking living room.
Dude, he's chilling, man.
Again, more people outside. They're just fucking with the door open.
So, to your point, Chris, they're having sex. A random cop is in the living room, and there's a mad scientist in the basement.
There's so much going on in this house. Did we establish to the audience that the house is located adjacent to a cemetery as well?
Yeah. The crypt is connected to the basement.
While all this is happening, there's a cemetery next door filled with dead bodies.
So was the lieutenant just chilling in the living room, sitting back, waiting, just listening to Kane have sex?
I think he was rubbing his dick.
This has got to be like the worst location for a bachelor pad ever, right? Me and my boy up here at the cemetery, girl. You should come over.
Yeah, in terms of getting laid, yeah, but in terms of like reanimating dead corpses, hey,
Perfect
best location.
I just feel, I mean, I guess their goals didn't seem aligned. It seemed like Dan was more worried about reanimating his penis every 20 minutes.
It's funny we say that. I think the lieutenant actually makes the statement of, you know, it's kind of weird being located next to a cemetery. And then Dr. West says it has its advantages.
Lieutenant Chapman forces his way into the basement to discover the body of a woman. He then attacks West while blaming him for his wife's death. West then kills the lieutenant with a chemical agent on a rag.
Yeah, it's strongly alluded right here that the lieutenant actually bashed in his wife's head with some blunt force object.
West injects his serum into the lieutenant, whose dead body wakes up and attacks both West and Kane. The lieutenant runs upstairs, kills Francesca's dog before running out of the house.
Yeah, at this point, there's a scene where he has his arm on the counter or table, and it gets chopped off with a fucking machete. So he runs upstairs, armless, screaming.
It was such a clean cut too. It was just like
It's
boop.
super clean cut.
Super sharp machete.
So is he like feral at this point? He doesn't have like, I don't know, agent over himself.
He still has some sort of, you know, self-consciousness.
What the hell's he doing killing the dog?
What do you mean?
He
The
snapped.
dog attacked him.
What are you going to do, Chris?
It's like a poodle or something. It's tiny.
At this point, like he was like, he didn't realize he kind of has superhuman strength.
The next morning, Francesca wakes up to hear her dog barking in the basement. So she goes down in just a sweater to find her pup reanimated with a human arm for a leg. She freaks out and runs out of the house.
Gives a new definition to the term shake.
A human hand just pops out and like goes for a handshake.
He's got a fucking gold ring on. I think he's got a wedding ring and shit on too.
I love that Herbert West, it like never misses a moment to test out his serum. Like every single possible moment.
She's like all distraught and down in tears, wrapped up with Dan on the couch. He just walks up, picks up the dog, and looks at her, and then just leaves.
At the hospital, Gloria flatlines, and West is unsuccessful at trying to bring her back. Why is West the doctor who is in charge of trying to save people at the hospital?
I don't think he is. I think he just does West things right there. I don't think that's the proper protocol, is it? For when someone flatlines and you can't resuscitate them with the defibrillators to cut open their fucking chest with a bone saw and massage their heart. God forbid they fucking wake up and they're alive. They're gonna die from shock. You literally just have your chest cut open with no anesthetics.
If you flatline, you just go right into fucking sawing up the body joint.
I don't think that's a thing.
Scoot over.
No one said anything because he's a doctor, but I think if any other doctor in the room had any sort of like, you know, authority, it's like, why the fuck did you do that?
Do you imagine if you had a family waiting on her for like, you know, to see what happens and the doctor comes out, it's like, yeah, well, she flatlined, and they're like, well, can we see the body? Not really a good time to see the body.
There's a lot of blood.
And this also illustrates how shit of a doctor Dan Kane is. Like in the beginning of the movie, this is kind of a callback to that point, and he's supposed to keep his like chest cavity like sealed just right to where blood won't squirt out and he won't like bleed out. He can't do that, and then he can't properly cut open the woman's chest in this scene, and he like pretty much kills her, or you know, he makes it to where she can't be saved. It's
He's struggling.
Dan Kane, he might just need to become like a romance novel writer or something, and just, you know, give up the doctor mantle.
You do shampoo commercials or something. We got to see some boobies here too.
Oh my God, yes. They ripped that shit off, and it's like, pause.
Solid. Like a rock. Kane is devastated because he wanted Gloria as well as he wants every damn woman in the movie. West sees this as another opportunity for a cadaver to work with.
Looks like we found our head, boys.
Dr. Graves is realizing that helping Dr. Hill may not be the best idea, so Hill summons the other Re-Animated to come to the hospital to help him instead. What is that thing you like, Joey, where like there's like a leader? It was in Slither, and like the leader could control hive mind.
Oh, the hive mind, yeah.
Hive mind.
He was like, "I'll get some help, motherfuckers," and he's just like connected to the cloud. He's like,
Yeah.
He just goes to sleep.
"We send a text."
I think he's like summoning up all the Uber drivers and shit to one destination. Did he have that power in the first movie?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm not for sure. I don't remember.
We need to watch this movie, Chris.
Does Graves ever leave this fucking hospital?
No, Chris. He lives in the pathology room. He eats in the pathology room.
He's like walking around with one shoe on and a holy sock with his
I
busted
didn't
looking
get the one
toenails.
shoe thing.
What the hell was going on with this poor guy?
Back at the doctor's house, Wes reveals the almost complete female body to Kane, now featuring the head of Gloria.
This scene was great. I love the way he presented the body like a freaking pimp. He was just going through each body part, being like, "This is from the," or at least he's like the womb of a virgin who's never had the taste of life.
The feet of a ballerina. The legs of a whore on the street. They were wrapped around so many men she fucked. The womb of a
So
virgin.
sexual, man.
The titties of the lady from Weekend at Bernie's.
He says the hands of a lawyer. What does that
Like
mean?
a black woman. It had like a black dude's hand. Like just one black dude's hand. And the other one was just a random hand.
It was Graves' hand. This is all we had for a right hand. I'm sorry.
That'd be the one to jerk you off with that fucking man strength.
He presents the whole thing as like, "You can fuck all this, Dan." It's like very sexual. None of it's just like, she'll be healthy and happy and da-da-da. Nah. You can come on her feet. Her calves are really strong. I was like, this is a bit much, man.
So at the
whole
end of
thing's
that,
like just trying to like appease Dan, you know.
Yeah.
he tells a great line, as only Jeffrey Combs can say, telling Kane that at first it's just dead tissue, but in their hands it's the clay of life. Like, Jesus.
Dude sold it, man. I like the spooky mist too around the body. That was a cool little touch.
A package arrives at the door, to which West immediately opens to reveal the head of Dr. Hill, now equipped with bat wings.
Fucking
skull bat.
Caught here in a fiery place, won't use my will to stay.
It was pretty cool to see that.
He just takes off, too. I mean, he learned how to fly pretty quick. In the cemetery, Francesca gets in the middle of a marriage dispute between Lieutenant Chapman and his reanimated wife. Back at the house, the bride has officially started to breathe and is finally alive. This takes place 20 minutes before the movie ends. What the fuck?
Yeah, this kind of sucks because the movie overloads your senses in this last like 20-25 minutes. I wish the entire movie was like this, but I guess like I can understand like the slow build up to this point. But if you're watching the movie, this last 25 minutes makes the movie worth watching, in my opinion.
Yeah, the effects go through the freaking roof here. And I did like the fact that they've been covering her with this mesh. Like Dan had made a point to cover each part, like when they finished it with the mesh.
I thought it was fucking cheesecloth that they over here trying to damn drain some.
Whatever
cheese
it was.
curds.
I thought it was a nice effect because when she actually rose, it was like a wedding gown. The way it was like covering her, I was like, that's pretty fucking cool imagery, man.
Kane and the bride go upstairs so that Wes can see that she is alive. Wes walks over to examine his creation, just as Francesca runs into the house to tell them that the Re-Animated are coming, and is completely fine that there is a dead woman in front of her.
She puts up with a lot, man. She's a good woman.
She's a keeper. All the Re-Animated begin to break into the house. The crew run to the basement and barricade the door. Francesca shoves the bride to the side in order to convince Kane that he is wrong. The bride attacks her because she is talking to her man.
She bites Francesca on the neck, man. I thought we was about to have some zombie outbreak bullshit going on.
So was she Meg? Was she ever really Meg, from your perspective?
I took her as being at some point in that body Meg. Yes.
I don't know. She felt like Gloria to me again. I don't know.
think
Maybe I couldn't get past the face.
The way, well, let's see, but her central nervous system, as they stated, was like belonged to Gloria. But I guess
Right.
if you really think like love comes from your heart, that they were saying, hey,
Well, like you were saying, the
Meg,
consciousness
this is
exists in different parts of the body, but if you have
yeah.
10 different consciousnesses, then which one actually runs the show, you know? Maybe she was Meg for like 5 seconds at a time.
You know, fellas, some people say love is where the heart is.
Look inside and find the part that's leaving
Look inside and find
you.
the heart that's dreaming you.
That's a beat of a heart.
That was beautiful. The
Hate
two
that fucking
begin.
movie.
The two begin to fight until Kane breaks it up by calling the bride a monster and telling her that he doesn't want her.
Oh man, this is where it really gets really fucking cool, man.
This woman's been alive for like 10 minutes.
Exactly. I'm done with Dan at this point. He's a fucking asshole. All the shit you just put this person through, and then you're like, nah, you fucking suck.
The bride attacks Kane, and the Re-Animator break down the door. The bride begins to fall apart due to what West calls tissue rejection.
You skipped over like one of the best scenes in the movie, man.
Tell me,
When
Joey.
she says, "What do you want?" And she's like screaming and shit. She reaches into her own chest, pulls out a heart, and holds it in front of Dan. Is this what you want? It's definitely like a callback to, it's a precursor to the movie Money Talks with fucking Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker?
When he's holding out the diamonds to all the Russians and shit, and he says, "Is this what you want?" But yeah, this is probably like the best acted scene in the movie is her, trying to figure out why Dan even wanted her to be built in the first place.
Exactly. She's been alive for less than 10 minutes, and this piece of shit is like, I'm just go fuck this hot Italian lady
Already
instead.
rejected. The one person that you were built to please rejects you.
I like how West will spend so much time creating his random shit that he does and then just move on so quickly. He literally calls out to Kane, see Kane, tissue rejection. And he's like fucking done with it, and he's like moving on to the next experiment.
He's the fucking scientist, man.
That's just part of the like dark humor of the movie. That was like that's one of my favorite things is about the film is this type of shit.
The whole tissue rejection sequence was really fucking like nauseating to watch, dude. It was rough.
So good.
It was intense.
I was like, this shit looks great.
West tries to escape through the passage in the wall, but Dr. Hill flies in to stop him. We learn that West has dozens of reanimated test subjects hidden away in the walls.
As a scientist, that's very like irresponsible of him to do that.
This is the part that's irresponsible.
That tomb is not even like sealed, and it's like
Morally questionable now.
It's like at least 8 or 9 like different feet and hands and heads and people just sewn together and given like and being reanimated.
All the reanimated attack West, and the building collapses onto them for reasons I have no idea why. Kane and Francesca survive by climbing out just in the nick of time. And that's the end.
There it is, roll credits.
I'm curious how they shot that climb out of the grave scene. It looked like those motherfuckers were legitimately buried alive and crawled out of
It
that,
looked like
all
some
in
shit
one
from
shot.
Beetlejuice. You remember when Beetlejuice like climbed out of the fucking ground?
Because he pulled her entire body out of like dirt. I was like, holy shit, she was underground for real.
At the end, right before the credits roll, we actually see that Dr. Carl Hill is still alive as the bat-winged head.
So
he is not in the third
how
one.
do we not get resolution on West? How do we get no resolution on Dr. West?
What do you mean? He's dead. Supposedly.
I'm just saying, I would like to have seen his body or something if that's the implication you're going to give me.
Well, that's the thing. You know how it is. If you don't see someone die on screen, they're not fucking dead. That's how it is with all forms of media and cinema. I don't think this movie had anything to do with like resolution. The way it ended is so fucking cookie cutter. It's so cookie cutter horror film, man. It's a terrible ending.
I really was disappointed with. This could have been like a major franchise up there with Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street or Evil Dead, but they just kept doing Re-Animator does this. Like in Re-Animator 3, it's Re-Animator in prison. That's all it is. Re-Animator 2, Re-Animator for a bride.
In my opinion, what would hold it back from actually being mainstream, and it's kind of a good thing because it differentiates the movie from, all these other films, and you kind of see it with Army of Darkness, is the gore. You can't have that kind of gore and be in the mainstream.
The gore is much, yeah.
Yeah, you become, cult status, sure. But you even see it with the Evil Dead series. Army of Darkness had no fucking gore. And that's like their most commercially successful film.
The eyeball in the shoulder always freaks me out.
Like,
I can't watch that scene.
Yeah, like Friday the 13th and shit like that too. It's just like you literally in Jason Goes to Manhattan see somebody get their head punched off. There's no fucking blood or anything.
Decapitation.
You can't have that shit in theaters.
Yeah. If you do gore well, then people aren't going to want to see more of it. Like watching this, I'm like, I don't want to see more gruesomeness,
I'm glad it stuck to its like roots instead of trying to sell out.
With that, fellas, I think we could probably skip this, but we're going to do it anyway. With this movie, what piece of memorabilia would you want to take home with you?
I want a vial of that green juice. Shit
that
was like
goo,
a flashlight.
Baby. Give me that goo.
I want the goo just stab shit around the house with.
I like the brightness. I just want to use it as like a flashlight.
If I had some of Chris's goo, I would wear it around my neck like fucking Frodo did in with my cloak, or like Frodo did with that one that told him if orcs were nearby.
You said my goo though, not the Re-Animator goo.
If I had your green goo, dude.
My personal goo.
Yeah, you got any goo? You gonna go next, Suda? You want me to go?
Oh, I think I already said it. It's the goo. It's the 100% the goo.
Oh, you're down with the goo, man? What the fuck's wrong with y'all? It's gotta be Francesca's dog, Angel, man. After Re-Animation. Imagine, like, not only being able to teach a dog how to grab and open a beer for you, but to, like, also play rock, paper, scissors anytime.
That's actually a good point, yeah.
That'd be dank as fuck. I'd never have to be alone again. I'd have my little one-hand dog.
The Rotten Tomato fan reviews were fun for this week, as you could imagine.
No, it's just got to be all over the place.
A little bit. First up is Tokyo Gyro, which I'm sure is that person's real name. It's okay, but man, Dan is dumber than a box of rocks. 2 stars.
My man.
Yeah, fuck Dan.
I'm on that boat.
Next up is Roy Nichols. Here we go again. The door to the gore store is now open as Herbert West returns to create one slick chick. 4 stars.
Yeah, I like the rhyming there. This guy's a poet.
And that's all the reviews I have, although I did find out something through going through countless reviews, is that several mention this film being very similar to a film called Frankenhooker. Watch the trailer. It is pretty fun looking.
See, now I always thought it was similar to the movie Frankenweenie, about that little dog that Tim Burton wrote.
Frankenhooker, Frankenweenie. So with that, Joey, what did you think of Bride of Re-Animator?
This movie has C written all over it. I feel ashamed of not having seen the original Re-Animator, given its high praise in the horror community, and jumping straight to Bride of Re-Animator. However, based on the merits of this movie as a standalone feature film, I found the dark humor to be right up my alley, and the practical effects and makeup are pretty amazing, especially the bride herself in the finale. Jeffrey Combs is brilliant, but he can only carry the movie so far. The plot is clunky and uninspired. Overall, a victim of the original film. From what I hear, having such a great story that the sequel, it has nowhere to go but down. The movie itself, it starts well enough, but By the climax, feels like a train off its tracks, which seems a little more than a highlight reel for its special effects department. Give Bride of Re-Animator a watch for Combs' performance and the gore and effects. Just don't go in expecting anything more than a fun, albeit forgettable experience.
And that was a fantastic breakdown, Joy. I'll go next. You gave it a C. I'm going one tick higher into a C+, although I know Joy doesn't give out pluses or minuses. It lacks the comedy that the first movie delivered, but makes up for it in special effects. Jeffrey Combs' portrayal of Herbert West is up there with Robert Englund playing Freddy Krueger. The man was born for this role. A solid sequel in the franchise and the continuing story of reanimating life. Go check out Bride of Re-Animator and enjoy the journey.
And I guess the echo chamber is in full effect here. I settled on a C myself. This is the kind of movie I saw a lot of back in my formative years, but probably not much since. So it kind of hit me with like an air of nostalgia, which is strange considering I've never seen it before. I guess I went in with an expectation of like cheese and just general grossness, and I got that for sure, which is satisfying. Nothing like a greasy cheeseburger every once in a while. Effects work was the bomb. It was definitely disgusting, which seemed to be their intentions. Lead performance, of course, was solid. Sprinkle that in with some weird motivations, some pseudoscience, and I had a lot of fun. But I will say this did not reinvent anything, or should I dare say did not reanimate anything. So with that, I'm going to mark this with a solid glowing green C.
So how close do we get for the Rotten Tomatoes fan reviews? Our fan score, sorry. We've already done the reviews.
The recap, I went with a 50, Hootie a 64, and Joey a 55. The actual audience score is a 45%.
It's a crime. That is an absolute crime.
We missed it. Yeah, we all overshot it. Yet again. So, looks like we're going back to that
Fucking depressing.
old spinny spin.
The wheel has been spun!
Alrighty, looks like the rando wheel has kicked out Mama from 2012.
I've heard good things about this movie. Never seen it.
What do you think about that, boys?
Movie creeped me out, fellas.
I watched it in theaters. I remember enjoying it. Have not visited it since, so anxious to try it again.
Looks like it stars the always lovely Jessica Chastain.
Alright, so let's hop on YouTube and check out that trailer. If you want to join us, hit the pause button. Give Mama a shot.
Presented by Guillermo del Toro, Master Florida. Oh shit!
Oh, he
What the fuck was that?
Look at that thing. Looking like the
Oh shit!
honeycomb.
Jamie Lannister.
Victoria and Lily.
The Kingslayer.
Conditions. Their parents gone. Alone in the wilderness for at least 5 years.
Hey, Victoria.
How they survived is
So
unexplained.
different
I'm
with
your
black hair.
daddy's brother. Remember Uncle Luke?
With a loving family.
Damn, she is hot as
Victoria
shit.
and Lily have a real chance.
Come on, Jamie Lannister or her?
Nope.
both of them.
Both.
Why
Look
is
at-
she look like she just got done going to a My Chemical Romance concert?
Why is her eye
I'm Annabelle.
shadow so dark?
Or whatever you like.
She's emo dog.
There's no way these girls are ready for this. And there is no way that I am ready for this.
How have they been affected?
They talk to the walls.
And what did they say?
It'll get better.
That fucking beard.
Big cookie woman.
Like that?
Oh, you should have fucked with Mama.
I'd like you to tell me about Mama.
No. What's wrong? I don't want you to care.
Don't touch me.
Nothing bad's gonna happen to me.
Mama's listening.
Oh, shit.
So she's looking now.
Did she have a bass
It's like
guitar?
the first scary movie you watched.
Are you not calling Amityville Horror Story?
I think someone's coming to visit them.
Victoria was under the bed.
A ghost is an emotion bent out of shape, condemned to repeat itself time and time again.
What is Miners Mountain?
Yeah, it's good.
This movie's terrifying.
Yeah, as I say, it might be the only scary thing we've actually watched so far.
I like my horror movies to have a lot of special effects and dark.
I like to be able to giggle at my horror movies.
So, do we want to venture some guesses here on Rotten Tomato fan scores for
Yeah,
Mama?
I'll go ahead and throw mine out there first. I'm going to go with a big fat 75.
Whoa, that is
for
high.
Mama.
Nice.
I'm going to go with a 69.
Shit, dog. I should have said that Jessica Chastain, you know what I mean?
What a dirty pervert. I remember this being well regarded, and from my recollection, it was good. So I'm going to say an 85.
85 from Professor Chris.
All right, folks, thanks for listening. You can find us on damn near any podcast platform. Check out the socials and whatnot on the website, horriblefilmschool.com. Subscribe and follow to spread the love. If you can, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. I'm going to use this sign-off to offer my support to women clamoring for the affections of a sexy doctor man who is willing to decapitate patients in order to reanimate his ex. You are worth so much more than that. Get yourself out there. Fuck that guy.
As always, if you listen to the show, tell at least one person that you know about it. Spread the love. Spread the campaign. And go out there and find whatever serum you want to create. And then go and test it on shit. You know? Live your life. Do your thing. And I'm out.
Appreciate the listen. All the support, love, all that good stuff. Nothing like a good holiday film. Sit around the table with a turkey and creepy kids climbing under the table and such. All right. With that, we're out of here, guys. Peace.